Let's vibe code an app to rank the best restaurants in Nairobi to match your exact vibe, be it a date night, brunch with your friends, or a nice cafe to work from. So we shall be using Codex for this. Codex is by ChatGPT. For those who prefer Claude Code, you can try something similar, but my preference is usually Codex because I get way better results. So here we're going to paste a prompt of the idea we're building, and this is going to more or less detail out the idea, target users, and what the app should actually do. And it says I want to build, so we can even just start with this is my idea. I want to build so we can even just say an app called Nairobi Restaurant Ranker, and the core promise is to help people find the best restaurants in Nairobi to match the vibes. So normally what happens is you have to go through TikTok, Instagram, and the likes. So scrolling just to see what people say about the restaurants. But what if we could simplify this process by just having a simple button or search bar rather, that you just type the vibe that you're looking for and it does the heavy lifting for you. Yeah. So target users, of course, young people who like eating out or want help choosing nice date spots. So some rules on what the first version should include. So this is what we call the MVP. So there's no onboarding. You don't need to create accounts for this. It's going to behave like Google search. Then no heavy filters. We need to keep it as simple as possible. And we'll also likely have to integrate it to Google Maps so that we get to pin the location of the restaurants. So such examples, date night in Kilimani, hidden gem under 2K. So exactly the things that young people look for when they are looking for a nice restaurant. So that's more or less it. I can say, give me a build plan I can follow while vibe coding this. Keep it simple, practical, and ordered by what I should build first. So let's hit enter and let's see what it's going to give us. So we have something that's very detailed. So let's go through it. Also, something to point out, this may not be beginner friendly, but if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll respond to each one of them. So it says we need to create the project. I have set up my workspace in a way that I have given it instructions on how we need to create new projects. So I think that's why it actually started with that. We have to define the MVP data. So exactly what we need to start with. We'll also need to build the homepage or the landing page in this case. And it's simply a first screen that says where should we go or what restaurant are you looking for. Just something simple. We'll need a ranking logic. So how exactly do we rank the restaurants? So maybe depending on your vibe, assuming it's a date night, an area, assuming you prefer Kileleshwa, Kilimani, Westlands, and the likes. Also your budget, and we're giving it weights so that we know what exactly needs to get prioritized. We'll also need to build the restaurant cards. Each card should show name, area, score, best, 4 tags, price estimate, and the rest. Then we'll also need a details page where you get to click on the card and you get to see details about the restaurant. Then there's also going to be a share button. So if you wish to share this with your friends, you can always share a link that's going to direct them to the restaurant you're suggesting. Then we're going to seed the first trail categories. So seeding is just giving it some data to start with, and we'll also have to improve the UI. So I use different models for this or coding agents for this. I usually start with Codex, as I mentioned. Then I use Claude Code to give me a polished UI. Sometimes I also resort to Antigravity depending on the best outputs I get. Then what we can build later and is not part of V1. So after this, the next important thing to do is create the project. So we're going to be using GitHub for our repository. And what I'll do is just paste a prompt that's going to give it the instructions we need. So we create the project for Nairobi Restaurant Ranker. use a simple modern web app setup. So normally I use Next.js for this. I deploy it to Vercel and I use Supabase for any records that I need to store. So I've given it some requirements here, and I've also told it to set up an environment variable support for Google Maps API. So what this means is it's going to create a .env, most likely a .env.example, just to show me how we need to structure the env in the event we need to plug in the Google Maps API key. It's a bit technical, but feel free to ask any questions in the comments. So I hit enter. So it's finally completed. Took about 11 minutes 53 seconds, quite a long one. And it created the project. It set up, it's a Next.js project set up with TypeScript. And there's a number of things I'm seeing it's already done. And so it's set up the maps link, share support, restaurant cards, and the likes. But we'll have to flesh this out further depending on what it's provided. Then the local dev server is running on port 3000, so we're going to check it out in a few. And yeah, that's majorly it. So one thing I also like to do is have a project management tracker so that we get to define what we need to build. The reason I'm doing this is because sometimes with AI, you get to deviate a lot because of the different suggestions it can give you. But to keep it a bit cleaner, we have to define our project structure. So I have a prompt that I'm going to paste here, and it says create a build checklist for Nairobi Restaurant Ranker. I want you to track the following so that we can check it off as we proceed. And we say keep task names short and clear. So I use linear, so I'll just tell it linear is available. Let me just show you that. So this is linear, and how it works is just like any other project management tool. You're going to have the overview. So this is the overview of the project. You're going to have issues, and these are the different tasks you need to complete. If you click on one, for instance, you're going to see a number of items here. So this helps us keep the project structured. So once I'm satisfied with the prompt, I'll just click send, so that it sets it up for me. So great, Linear has already done the setup for us. I'm seeing it's added 15 to-do items, and it's all been listed out here. If you wish, you can check it out from the Linear app. So we just come to projects. I can see Nairobi Restaurant Ranker MVP. Then I come to the issues section, and here I get to see all the issues that have been created. So for instance, in the first screen, I can see build the first screen around the core question, where should we go? And we've defined a very simple acceptance criteria for that. So that's already in place, and we can move on to the next part. So next up, we'll have to move to where the code actually lives. And I use Antigravity as my editor, and I'm going to open it. So I'll just click on open folder, then locate the project, then click on open. So we can just make this full screen, and here I get to see everything that has been set up. So maybe a quick walkthrough of this. So of course, our file folder structure is on this side. The agents I use, so the first one is Antigravity, and the second one, of course, Claude from the logo, and the third one is Codex. So Codex is my favorite as of now. So here on this other side, we are using a monorepo architecture, and you're going to see there's one app inside of it called web. In the event we need to flesh this out further, maybe build out an admin side, payments, and the likes, we can always flesh it out as different applications within the same repository. Yeah. Then we have some docs that have been defined here. A good one is the PRD. So this is what we call a product requirements document, and I can just check it out quickly, and it's more or less detailed out what the project is about. Then we have packages here. This is how we get to configure everything from authentication, if you're going to have auth, how we set up the database, UI, and the validators. Then I think that's a good point to start. Of course, our usual markdown files for Claude code and Codex. So for Claude, claude.md, and for Codex, that's going to be agents.md. So yeah, so that's a good point to start. I can just come to the terminal and quickly run npm run dev so that we get to see how the application looks. So we've stumbled onto an error. So sometimes, just to bypass all these issues, you can just come to Codex, for instance, ask it to run the application so that I can see what you have done so far. So something I forgot to mention, I have a background in computer science. I'm a software engineer. So normally whenever we'd stumble on such issues, we'd have to take some time to debug it. But with AI, this is very easily done. And yes, so this is what it's given us. A Nairobi Restaurant Ranker, which is the name of the project. Where should we go? Some nice filters on the left side. So it's a bit boring for now, but you're going to fix that at the end. So I can see there is a simple search button here. We can probably search with the names. I can see the vibes listed out. So if I want a date night, if I'm planning for a birthday, cocktails, a work cafe, and I can see the areas, filter by the areas, and the budget. What you're seeing now is probably names of restaurants you already know, but it's not properly done yet because we're just defining the skeleton of it. Then we're going to build upon it. I'm also seeing a view details button here where you get to see a single restaurant. So works when the group wants to know a reliable place, a good meat, and a room that can carry a celebration. You get to see the price, why it ranks, what it's good for, and what it's not ideal for. I'm also seeing some two buttons here. So I can see share is not working yet. And I'm seeing okay, this is nice. So I can click on a single restaurant and it shows me where exactly it's located. But we can just come back to this and let's refine the prompt a bit further. So something I wanted to do well is have a proper ranking engine so that when we have real data streaming in, it can properly rank them. And I'll paste my prompt here and explain what exactly it does. So I want to close this. Okay, yeah. So this is my prompt, and what it says is it should rank places using these details, and it's important. So a 4.8 rating with 20 reviews should not automatically beat a 4.5 with 2000 reviews. So we're trying to give it a better way to understand how to do ranking. Then keep the ranking easy to understand and generate a one-line reason for each result. Do not over-engineer this. This is the first useful version. So I can just come here, turn on speed to fast. Again, I don't recommend this. It's going to burn through your tokens, but I'm on the pro plan, so that's fine. It's already implemented the proper ranking model for this. So the next thing I'll also do, I want to refine our action buttons a bit. So I can just update that to for the action buttons. Open in maps, I think it already does that. But then there's something I want to take note of here. Our share button does not work. So fix this. Then what else do we need to improve on? So I can also tell it, could we include images for our restaurants? So as I mentioned, we're going to clean up the UI to make it more visually appealing. for now, the goal is just to ensure the logic works as it should. Great, so it's finally done, and it also took quite some time, about 6 minutes, but I can see it's confirmed these images that have been included, and we can check that out. So this is what it's provided. It's looking way better now, especially with the images. Then I can see view details, Shamba Cafe, white trunks and the likes, share. I think it copied, yeah, it did copy it on the clipboard. Yeah, we'll likely have to improve that so that we have different share options. But for now, I think that's a good start. So we click on back to rankings, and I'm hoping the filters are still working as they should. Yeah, I think there's still some work to do there. But the next key thing is refining the UI, and that's what we're going to do. So back to our code base, and I'll use Claude to refine the UI. So I already have an option of accessing Claude through here. So I just click on it. I'll have to move Claude to this other side, minimize that, and minimize that. So from here, I can take it to plan mode. You just click on Shift Tab, then enter the prompt that I need to use. So it says polish the UI for the name of the product, focus on low cognitive load, and a number of items that I have specified here. So Claude is really good at this. And something else we can define is the model that is going to be used for this. So I'm seeing it's already on Opus. That's a good thing. We can just increase this to extra high, and thinking is on. Yeah, that's a good place to start. So let me just come back here, delete that part, and click enter. So Claude has come back to us with the plan, so let's review it. So polish UI, Nairobi Restaurant Ranker. So it's defined some context there. Then I'm seeing some globals CSS files. So this is where we get to define our styles. Then header, search, results, header, empty state. So this is also nice. In the event we have no matches, how we get to display that to the user. Then yep, I think that's a good start. Maybe what I can also do is just hit escape there and just specify, also ensure this is visually appealing. So I know that's very vague, but I found that it does a really good job whenever you specify such things. Then we can move it from plan mode to execute mode and hit enter. So Claude has finally completed, and I'm seeing it's done a number of things, and we can check that out. So let me just give it a quick refresh. Yeah, so that looks way better compared to what we had. Then maybe click on a single one, CJs. I can see these cards that have been introduced here, some nice tags, white trunks. You can open that in maps. Yeah, that still works. Share, I think, still copied on the clip to the clipboard. Back. So there's a few improvements we can make here. And one could be maybe see more cards at a go. So instead of having to scroll this all the way down, so maybe see more cards at a go. We could also dock this top nav so that it stops disappearing. And something else also is we can check the mobile responsiveness of this just to know what guys using mobile devices get to see. Yeah, the cards are quite responsive, so maybe let's just view single one. Yes, yeah, so I think I already have some feedback, and let me just fill that in. Yes, so some feedback I've given it. So we can dock the top nav as I mentioned. We can ensure the search filters are easy to use. We can allow for a user to see more cards at a go, and we can make improvements on the visual appeal of this. So I've just specified on that. Then something else I've just remembered. And the last one is for the share, we can have options to share this. Like WhatsApp, you can copy it, where you can actually copy it or use social medias, that is. So I think that's good. I am hoping, yeah, maybe let me just take this slightly down so that we get to move a bit faster. Yep. So Claude code has finally completed, and it's done a number of changes. So we can just come, oh, okay, that looks way better. So I can see more cards now. I can do the filters based on the vibe, area, and budget. Of course, we can type in, I think there's some work needed there. And yeah, the placement of this is also off. We might also need to fix that. So let's click on a single one. Let's try share. So this is nice. Now it's included the different options. You can click on WhatsApp. Very nice. It also gives a link and everything that we can share on WhatsApp to our friends. Then opening maps, I believe, still works. So to that point, I think we're looking good. I'll fix the logo section there, but we can just come to our tracker so that we make sure that things are looking good. So first screen is done. Search input not yet done, so we can just say this is in progress. Then vibe buttons, they've been done. Area buttons done. Budget buttons done. Restaurant cards done. They're looking good. Demo data, so that's what we're actually doing, done. The detail page is also done. Opening maps is also done. Share is done. Maps data, so here there's some work still. Then ranking rules, we might have to polish this, but I can just put this as in progress. Actually, I think the ranking rules are good, so we can just put them in review. Then UI cleanup is in progress. Then test flows, this is one of the final things we'll have to do. So we're looking good. Then next thing we can do is this maps data section to ensure that we actually get real data, because we're using demo data, and let me proceed with that. So I'll use Codex for this once again. So maybe I can just minimize that or close that. I have a prompt for this, so just paste it in. So connecting Google Maps or places data for restaurants. Of course, we shall not expose the API key. We have an env for that. Then there's a number of things it's listed out. Yes, so you can just click enter on this so that we proceed with that front. On the other side, I can set up Google Maps on my end. So I already had the tab somewhere open. So what you need to do is just come and search for Google Maps API. So we can just come here first to ensure we've enabled the services. So let's see, there's a number of them. Yes, we can enable the Maps JavaScript API. So let's just ensure that's done before we, nice. Then click on keys. Yes, so I'm seeing there is a new places JavaScript option. Let's just check it out. I haven't tried it yet, so it's taking me to the docs. No need for that. So let me just come to the normal one that I know of. Click on it. It has all these selected. Then show key. Then I'll copy this to my clipboard and come to this other side so that we set it up in our code base. So as this is proceeding, I can just come to the .env. So this is where we get to store our secrets, and this is the example file. So what you need to do is just duplicate this. Maybe let me just use the shortcut Command C, Command V. Then we'll have to rename it to .env .local. Then come here and paste in our API key. Oops. So that's good. I can just close that file for now. So back to Codex, I can see a number of things have been done. So it's implemented the Google Places connection. The app now supports demo if you want to use demo data, and Google if you want to use Google Places. Then it was also included in the .env.local. So I can just come here and say, so we need this connected to the search. Section so that I can, yes, so I've just told it that we need to integrate the Google Maps feature to the search section that we already have, so that I can filter also by location. And let's see what we're going to get. Codex is finally completed. So let me see what it's done. So search now calls API restaurants with a phrase, so you can search by vibe, area, budget, and the likes. Then our fail mechanism has already been integrated. So I think that's good to start with. So I'll just ask it to restart server, since I have envy to use Google. That's finally completed. Let's see what we have. I'll just give it a quick refresh. So maybe let's filter based on maybe Karen. So that is nice. I can see it also got some along Gong Road, which is still within the proximity of Karen. Let's try Kilimani. Very nice. I can see restaurants in Kilimani with all the reviews and everything that's needed there. Let's try Lavington. Very nice. I can also see some restaurants in Lavington. Do the filters work? Let's see. Yeah, so there's still some work needed here, but if I click on it, it takes me to the maps needed for this, and I can see everything I need before trying out the restaurant. So I think that's looking good. The next thing we can actually do is deploy this. So I have a prompt ready for this so that we get to move a bit faster. I just tell it prepare Nairobi Restaurant Ranker for Vercel deployment. So as I mentioned, we're using Vercel for this. Then deploy to Vercel. So I already have this set up. After deployment, give me a live URL. Any envs I must add in Vercel, and a smoke test checklist. So this is going to allow us to do thorough tests of the application. So actually, let me set this up in a new chat. So I can come to this other side so that we check it out, give it a quick refresh. And then here I can type areas like Kilimani, find places. Yes, so this is very nice. I get to see all these places, click on details. I get to see the reviews that have been listed, the address, whether it's closed or open now. You can actually open the website. That's a very, very good touch. Yeah, so I think the Crave Kenya website is down, which is still fine. I can see Sieges here, see all the details we saw in the previous card. Then click on sieges.com. Nice. So Sieges actually opens, which is a good thing. So at this point, I think we are ready to deploy it, and I just did so in a different chat. So how this works is I have this connected to Vercel, and if I'm to just come to Vercel here, click on all projects, then maybe give this a quick refresh. Click on all projects. I'm going to see Nairobi Restaurant Ranker, and in deployments, I'll see there was some 2 errors that we had with the deployments, but with this specific one, I get to see the same thing that we saw in our local environment. So that's it for our Nairobi Restaurant Ranker. If you want to see more builds like this, like the video, follow and subscribe.